Harmonizers. So we are here with Bling at her second horse show, second offsite experience, and she was pretty stressed coming off the trailer still, better than she was. And so this is the practice for the obstacles. So we're gonna work on some of the things that she struggled with last time. She did really well actually last time. So mostly just the bridges and her coordination of putting her feet in the boxes and stuff. So we'll see how she does today. I'll give you guys a few tips along the way. And hopefully she has another good experience.
So first up, I just want to show you her at the trailer so you can kind of see where she's at. She was definitely better than she was at the first show, her first offsite experience, but you can see that she is significantly more stressed than Arwen. Arwen's just eating the hay and she's pacing a little bit, and then she's like, oh yeah, I'm a horse, I can take a bite of hay. But she's dancing and she's flipping her head a little bit. She's just stressed about being there, and she definitely does settle down when we start to work with her, but she's definitely stressed about the whole situation, and that's probably the most difficult thing for her. And just the more I take her places and she realizes there's no reason to get excited, we're not racing, nothing like that's happening, it's going to change. But it's definitely something that she's got to work on and realize that it's going to be okay. So here's a look inside. We're going to start with some of the obstacles. So here's the carousel obstacle, which she did well last time as well, but it's just good to see now that there's different decorations and everything looks really differently, that she's able to go ahead and start with that. And when I brought my horses to this show, I did Arwen first because he was really calm and relaxed, and I had one of my students walk Bling around so that way she would be in a better frame of mind. But this is her first look at the obstacles though. So here's a look at the bridge, and I try to ask her to turn the corner and do the other bridge, and you can see that that didn't work too well, but I show her the answer and ask her to get on the bridge. So whenever I'm doing stuff with my horses, they're never in trouble, but I want to show them the answer. So then here I go to show her what I want her to do. So I stop her on the bridge, and then I ask her to step up on the other side. So you can see she's still a little bit clumsy with her feet, but she's getting a lot better and she's gaining a lot more control with that. So I was pretty happy with that and decided that we could move on to the next obstacle. And here's a little look at the boat. So she kind of hesitates a little bit because it's got a whole bunch of balls and things in there, but she steps in with her front feet and her back legs. So I'm really happy with that. You see she kind of looks at me like, I did good, Mom, right? I earned a cookie. So then here's a little look at the pool noodle. So what was new this time is I wanted to say, okay, you can do these obstacles without me. There's no need to follow me through here. You can do it by yourself. So it took her a little bit to figure out what I wanted her to do, but then she was pretty willing to go through. But you could see she kind of rushed with her back legs. So whenever you see that, it's always worth the time to go back and send them through again if you're able to, because you don't want them feeling rushed or scared of an obstacle, because then they're just going to be nervous about it the next time that you go to do it. So you want to repeat it enough times that the horse makes progress with it and that they realize that it's not scary. So that time you can see she walked through. She kind of lifted her back leg a little bit because, you know, it tickles and it doesn't feel great, but she didn't look scared and rushed like she did the first time. So here's a little look with the send around with a ginormous Hershey kiss. And I was pretty impressed with both her and Arwen that they didn't even sort of look at it. I thought they were going to look at it. I thought it was super big and shiny, but apparently they just thought it was kind of a boring blob and not really as exciting as I thought it was. So here's a little look at a few more bridges that I'm going to do with her. There's just another horse down there that I'm waiting to clear the space. So here it's a smaller bridge, which I didn't bother to do during the competition the last time that I had her because she wasn't that good with her feet yet, that she was targeted on stuff like that. And you can see she's stepping through with her front feet and her back legs really nicely. So she has improved a lot since the first show in terms of the coordination of the feet. And here's a little look at the curtain. You can see she kind of pushes forward a little bit, but she does a good job of staying beside me and she's not trying to hide behind me through the curtain. In contrast, Arwen was trying to do that, and if you watch his video, you'll see how he worked on that, but she's much better about it. And so she only needed to do that twice, and she did that really confidently. So I wanted to try asking her to do a back through the curtain. So this is something we've been working on, is building up her confidence of her hind end. And you can see she's a little bit wiggly in the beginning, and she's kind of like, oh, are you sure that this is what you want me to do? And she is able to do it, though, with a little bit of correction there. So we definitely still have homework to do with the backing through things, but she's made some good progress, some good strides there. And that was just for fun to practice that. So here's a little look at the narrow bridge. So just asking her to be slow and really think about her feet. And she gets her front feet that time, but no back feet. Even so, that's her first time ever doing something that narrow. So I'm going to offer her some positive reinforcement. So remember, there's that good saying of Rome wasn't built in a day. And so if it's your first time doing something with your horse, it's never a bad idea to reward them for trying. And then you can see this time she ends up with 3 feet on the bridge. She didn't get her other back leg, but I'm not going to worry about that today. She gave me 3 feet and it's only 12 inches wide, so we're going to call that a win. And something that we can continue to work on for sure. And super easy with the ball. And I always find that so impressive for her, because I don't have, I have a ball at the farm, but not in the winter time that I typically practice with, because it usually gets kind of deflated. So she hasn't seen a ball since the last time we were at the horse show. And she's like, oh yeah, I remember how to do this, and I kick it. So I'm pretty impressed with her for that. I think she's going to end up doing really, really well in trail. I think she's got a really, really great brain. She'll probably end up being pretty similar to Mystique, I think, where she's kind of equally good at doing some jumping and some trail stuff. So she's got a pretty exciting future ahead of her. And here's a little look at another back through, and you can see she struggled with it. The same kind of thing where she's like, are you sure that you want me to do this? And it just takes a little bit of correction, and then she's like, okay, yeah, I can back through it. So that's definitely going to be our homework for the next month to work on, is trying to help her get better at that. Everything else she's doing really, really well at. Right here I'm backing her up, and we're going to get in position to do a sideways over the mounting block. And this will be the first sideways here at this facility. And so she kind of thinks about it a little bit, and she's able to get across it just fine. So that's really fantastic. And something that I guess I should also point out is that prior to this show, my horses haven't actually seen me for more than a week, because I was away on vacation in Florida, and she's doing super fantastic and really kind of impressing me with how much she's remembering. Not that they really forget everything, but just that you really don't have to work them super consistently necessarily, and that you're able to still come out and have success. That's really great to see. And then here, taking a look at sending her on a circle from a pedestal. And there I was asking her to do a sideways towards me. So even though this isn't a requirement for this particular day, it's something that I want to teach her. We're going to be building towards this for potentially if we do some other type of obstacle work and when we start riding. So it is something that's important for her to learn. So she's not quite giving me her hip as much as I would like, so we'll have to work on that a little bit more. But again, she hasn't done anything for a while, and this is something that's kind of new for her. So I'm just going to keep working on that. So here I'm asking her to stop, and I'm asking her to do the sideways over again. And it's good for the horse to understand too that you're not always asking them to go forward. That's not always the answer. So it's asking her to use her brain and figure something else out. And she kind of keeps thinking, go forward, go forward. And I'm like, no, it's come towards me. So there you can see her hip is definitely not anywhere near me, but she really struggled with that. You could see how much she struggled with that. So as soon as she brought her shoulders over to me, I reward that. And now I'm asking for her hip. And then just to make it a little easier for her to understand, I toss my rope over her back. And then that makes sure that any kind of pressure or cue is definitely coming from the left side of her, which means that the door is open to go to the right. And that sometimes can just help take away that barrier for them of what you want them to do. So now I'm just giving her some rubs, and then she's going to get some positive reinforcement, and we're going to try it again here. So I'm asking her to go out, and then I'm going to ask her to try to stop. And you can see we've definitely got some work that we need to do with that, because she just kind of keeps going. And a little bit of that is kind of that racehorse mentality of, I've just got to go, I've just got to run. And she's kind of thinking like, I've just got to move my feet. So again, just a really good task for her to do, of not just circle, 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 but now we're got to think sideways towards. She's got to think about that. So she did that much better than the last time. So we're definitely made some progress on that, and just taking advantage of an opportunity to put a little bit of a different skill in, even though that's definitely not something that's going to happen for in the horse show anyways. So walking over the little love letters, she just completely obliterates them and knocks them over. So in a second, I'm going to send her with a little bit more speed, and that will ask her to jump over it. What I do like about that, though, is that when she knocked them over, she really couldn't care less. Like, she didn't get upset or worried or anything about that. So here, when she trots in, she actually jumps it, and that's significantly better. Accidentally hits the pole there, but that's just because it's kind of tight quarters there. So that's all right. She's doing really good there. And overall, pretty happy with her. And then here's a look at her ground tying while we're just waiting for everybody to do their thing. Everybody lines up at one end of the arena, and then you'll see there's somebody with a little mini in the pony in the class for the in hand. And here's a little look at the sideways towards and away, which I actually did after her competition round, but I'm just showing it to you beforehand, before her round, just so that way all the little clips of the training are kind of in one spot. So with that in mind, we're going to jump ahead and take a look at her competition round, and you'll get to see what she looks like there. So here we go. We're headed off. I've got my beanbag in hand, and we're going to start with that trot all the way around the arena. And she does a really nice job of jogging out beside me, and that's not really too much of a surprise because horses at the track tend to do a fair bit of this, whether they're jogging for a vetting or exercising various things. So it is a skill that she already knew before coming to me. And then I'm going to try tossing my bean bag with my horrible aim and not even come close to hitting the cups, unfortunately. And off we go. But that was a mandatory obstacle task to kind of start you off on the way. Sometimes the shows do that, sometimes they don't. So oddly enough, even though Bling did the ball perfectly during practice, there was a good chance to see that doesn't always go perfectly. But if you kind of take a double look at that, you'll see that I didn't really set her up perfectly for it. So I've got to make sure that I do my job and not just take advantage for the fact that she's usually really good. She did step over the bridges really nicely, so she made really good progress there. Did a nice job going around the Hershey's Kiss. And this is a competition for how many obstacles can you get done in the limited amount of time. So I am trying to do well, but at the same time, I don't want her to be upset at the obstacles. You can see I'm still letting her walk through the different obstacles like the bridges and stuff, and allowing her to take her time going through them, but then trotting in between for the most part. And that's something really good to practice too, is if you've been practicing a lot of obstacles and you've been building up your horse's confidence, the next kind of thing you can do is start to trot in between the obstacles, because it starts to play with the horse's energy. So you start playing with energy up and energy down, and it's important for horses to have that emotional control, to be able to go from I'm busy, 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 and I'm going, 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 and then, back down to relaxed and just taking it really nicely. So she did a really good job with the carousel there. Really nice job with the boat, taking all of her feet going through, and pretty easy going through the rope when you're not on your horse. It'll be a whole different ball game when I start to do that on her back. So then here I try to do the turn which we kind of miss it a little bit, but she ends up getting all 4 feet on the bridge, so that still ends up counting. But again, something that I'll work a little bit more on. She is getting better with her feet, but it's just something that is going to take a little bit of time and practice for her. So the first time she went through that, she didn't step a back foot through there, but not because she was, being cheeky, just because she's so long in her body that she didn't have to the first time, but she did on the second time, so that was good. So there she did her trot circle around the mounting block really nicely. I was really happy with that. And into our send around again. And when I did this gambler's choice pattern, I had a little bit of a plan, but not really a whole lot. So I'm kind of going around to different obstacles here, trying to make sure I hit lots of different ones. Not necessarily going in any particular order, and I'm a little bit more all over the place than I typically am, because normally I do circuits of obstacles, but here I'm a little bit kind of all over the place. But my main goal for this competition was to make sure that she was able to do lots of different obstacles and that she could do them calmly and relaxedly with me. So that time over the little narrow bridge, that was pretty bad. She didn't do it very nicely at all. But I also didn't line her up very well because I was playing with the beanbag there. So we're working our way around a ring, and I didn't practice the pulley earlier, and I didn't need to. She did that really well, and that was okay. Making her way through the bridges again. And you can see that Bling's attitude is really nice and relaxed, which is great. And I love this show because she got a chance to practice some of the obstacles in the beginning, and then now she's able to have a chance to go in the ring by herself with a whole bunch of people and other horses kind of watching and work on that. And here with the sideways to get to the mailbox and back, I hadn't practiced that prior to, so I was pretty happy with her there. And we finish it up with a couple bridges.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Bling did super awesome and ended up getting first place. And that's just because she hustles a little bit more, she walks a little bit faster, so she's able to do the obstacles a little bit faster. The goal of the gambler's choice is to get as many points as possible. So even though we kind of rushed a little bit in between the obstacles, I still wanted her to do them calmly. And I'm just happy that she's saying yes. And this part makes me really happy because now she's back at the trailer and she's actually eating her dinner and she's not super upset. Whereas the last show, she was still a little bit upset when she came back to the trailer. So this is looking a lot better. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to like this video, comment, and tell me what you think and how she's doing. And remember to subscribe if you don't already. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now.